You're going to want to tune into this video. Before I get hopping and popping, I want to tell you, tonight I'm going to be on with Barbara O'Neill. It's a paid event, probably going across the screen right now. And we're going to ask her about some of the remediation strategies with what's going on out here. Also, I know we were going to get into it the other day when we revealed the results, but YouTube cut the feed of Dr. Will, so we never got to it. So I'm going to do a show with Pat Militich and Dr. Will, hopefully Tuesday this week. I'm trying to work out what's going to work out best for them. With that said, let's get hopping and popping. What's up, y'all? I am at what I'm going to call ground zero for restoration here in Western North Carolina. Okay, I'm just going to spin around this way. Over here, we got some other volunteers, and we got Allison from the Farm Connection, Ian, their kids, a whole gang of folks out here. And then in the distance, we got Oakland basically working a biochar ring. And all of that is going hand in hand for what we're doing out here. Now, you're seeing a 100-gallon tub, and I'm going to grab something from over here. Now, this is going to look a little weird, but this is the rock star of what we got going on out here. This is basically, well, let's just call it extract, okay? And look how dark it is, but don't freak out, because this is precisely what we need. Where everybody's dropping, you know, you think you need chemicals in our reductionistic society for everything, but we don't. We need everything that's already found in nature, okay? The good Lord's provided for all of it. And right there in this tub is where it's at. You've seen me do videos before on compost extract. Well, now I got in this 100-gallon tub enough to do 50 acres. And we're gonna put it on about a quarter of an acre today, okay? Here we are in a community that was absolutely devastated by what happened with that hurricane. And we're going to turn it around. That's exactly what the Living Soil Foundation is meant to do. We're trying to raise the money to be able to not only pay for the testing that we talked about the other day, because it's not enough to just do initial testing. We're going to have to do it continuously. And I could show you the invoice, but that testing costs, well, this last one, actually, I told you $5,000. It was actually about $8,800. And I can't keep breaking all that out of my own pocket. So anyway, folks, this is where it starts, and we're going to need your help every step of the way. We got tons of volunteers working all over this area, but we're going to need everything that you can possibly offer, and most importantly, your prayers, okay? Here's how it's going to go today. We made all this at home. I've shown you how to do it before. All I did was take what we had at the house, brought the water, because I know the water is not chlorinated, or fluoridated. It's straight from my well, and I know that water is fantastic. So we have basically 30 gallons of extract, and that's enough to do about 30 to 50 acres out here. I'm not kidding, and we're going to put it all on about a quarter of an acre. So we got it in the tub. We got our pump. We got our sprinklers. We got the whole 9 yards, and it's really, 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 really simple. In a nutshell, all we're going to do is put great biology down here, and the kind of biology I have in here is meant to eat up a lot of the awful things that are down in here. Either eat it up or tie it up. That's exactly what we want to do. And we're gonna hope and pray that we do this in record time. Now, I'll talk later about what that timeline may look like. We know what the starting point was, and this is where we begin. The good thing is that it's been freezing for days and days around here, but today it's about 59 degrees when I checked when we first got on the ground here. So, good thing is that the warmer it is right now, the better our microbes are going to be able to work. Another thing to point out, I'm going to stand here on the edge. Now, I've already taken my penetrometer and I've gone around this place, and I can basically run it down 3 feet without obstruction. So initially, if it would have been harder ground, we would have to go through with a broad fork, hit it every 2 feet, and then put our extract down and then try to get the biology down low. We're not going to have a problem with that. Like I said, a penetrometer goes down practically with one hand, because all of this is basically sand that's washed up out of the river. So instead of scraping it off, because I know somebody's going to ask that, well, why don't we just scrape it off? It's the worst thing you can do. Why take this toxic mess and put it in another place and then have to remediate it there when we can remediate it right here on the spot? And that's what we're going to do, y'all. Like I said, this is ground zero for restoration in Western North Carolina. All right, as you can see, most of this stuff is sand, and it's toxic, and it ain't cool, and it's not wonderful. But it's really this simple. We're basically gonna take that stuff, put it through this sprinkler, throw it down. We're gonna have to play with it and see the wind's kicking up down here. So I'm not sure. We're just gonna have to play with it a little bit. We'll get it wet and then start putting down some straw, and then we'll hit it again and then work our way that way. All right, well, we got a malfunction, and it's always gonna happen. Basically, this is why you don't buy cheap stuff. So I got this one on the discount rack somewhere, and now it's showing why you don't wanna do that sort of thing. So look, plan B, I'm gonna have to physically get over here, spray this stuff out, and then we're gonna have some folks come behind me with the straw. We'll put it down, and then hopefully if we got enough extract, we'll go ahead and, cover, hit it back again. Now that's plan A, but here's plan B. Hopefully, usually straw stays put. But if it doesn't, then plan B is to go ahead and put some like aged wood chips down. I was hoping to go with the straw because, I wanted to put some kind of ground cover down. We can still do that sort of thing. It's just a bigger pain. Straw would be easier. Fast carbon pathway will be rocking and rolling. But hey, you do what you got to do. Ground zero for Western North Carolina restoration right here. All right, so 30, 45 minutes later, we're practically done for this part of it. Let's go down and get a closer look. Now check this out. Before this engineered storm came through, this bank, this river bank, went out another 40 to 50 feet that way, and it's all gone. And what's left behind is not absolutely wonderful, but hey, like I said, this is ground zero for restoration. So here's what's gonna happen from here on out. We've got a bunch of different ways we can go about it, but we got the straw down, and the cool thing about straw is that it usually stays in place even in pretty good winds, but we're by a river, so we may have to wind up covering this straw up, or not replacing it, but covering it up with wood chips. We'll see if it stays in place, then it's going to be absolutely just fine. So this is plan A, wood chips will be plan B. Now, also at the same time, the owners here are thinking about, okay, how do we want to design this? Of course, they want to turn it into something better. They want to put some trees out here, some fruit trees perhaps. I don't know, whatever they decide, we'll go ahead. Remember, it's the best time to plant your trees is going to be, at least in this area, is going to be in the late fall and all through the winter. So if you want any trees, even though there's not a whole lot of soil life right now, we still want to put them in right now, because that's going to be plan A of the phytoremediation that will kick into high gear come spring. And that's where all this stuff, so weekly I'm going to be out here donating my time, and time I really don't have, but anyway, weekly coming out here doing this area here. This is plan A. Plan B, we got another site over there. We're going to do something a little bit different. We got site C, which is over there where all the volunteers are right now, by the biochar and the straw that the kids, of course, you got a pile of straw, kids are going to jump on it. So that's plan C. That's exactly how this thing is going to unfold, y'all. Weekly, I'm going to be out here and I'm going to reapply everything I just put down today. So the way this works, remember, this is not a war we win in miles, but we win it in inches. So right now, the biology we put down here, as long as, now, I'm just going to say this, the number one problem when you do anything like this is never the work. It's always the people. Are people going to come out here, drive on it, trample on it, do whatever? Well, hopefully we're going to put up some red tape around here and try to keep people off of it. But that's number one. But just like anytime you put this stuff down, it has to be followed with subsequent. The biology we put down is basically, some of it ain't going to make it, okay? Some of it will. And then we're going to come back, hit it again, and then hit it again, hit it weekly. Ordinarily in a situation like this, you usually hit it every 2 weeks, but I'm going to do it every week. We're going to try to speed up the process, and we're going to do testing to find out just how quickly we can get this thing on the mend. Now, as spring rolls around, here's where things get a little bit different. Honestly, as I sit here and I do whatever quiet time I have, which ain't much, I sit here and I imagine what I want this place to be. I'm imagining fruit trees alongside here. I'm imagining kids playing on it. I'm imagining a guild around these fruit trees of comfrey, blueberries, all those wonderful things that you've talked about, all the things that we have in our place about 10 miles away from here. And that's what you got to do when you work on things like this. You have to get in your mind's eye exactly what do I want this to be. And of course, for us, it's always going to be praying to the good Lord to give us the guidance as to finding out what deserves and what ought to be here. Not just what I think ought to be here, but what is going to work best here. So now that's the phase we're in right now, finding out what's going to work. And when spring rolls around, that's when we're going to put down our ground cover and all the other things that are going to be the other heavy lifters out here. So it's not just the microbes we're putting down in here, it's the phytoremediation that we add after that. But folks, that's exactly what we're doing with our foundation. And we ask your support in any way possible. If you can help out, chip in. The tests are not cheap, but as far as I know, we're the only people doing any testing out here. There's a lot of people doing remediation, but they're not doing anything to find out whether or not what they're doing is even working. So that's what's going to make us a lot different. And plus, it's not like this is our first rodeo. We're going to go at this thing and we're going to hit it hard. And y'all, even more important than your donations, I'm going to ask for your prayers. I mean that. It's more important than anything else we're doing out here. I'm doing what I'm doing right now, not for my glory, not to say, hey, not to stick my chest out, not to bolster any foolish pride that may be down deep. No, I'm doing this for the glory of God. I'm showing what the good Lord can do and how we can fix things that man screws up through his guidance, of course. All right, y'all, thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support. Until next time, this is Billy from Perma Pastures Farm, where permaculture is my passion.